Good morning, everyone. In last few of our classes, we have already discussed Russian Revolution, how the various political changes were coming in Russia, how the First World War had started, formation of Bolshevik and Menshevik had taken place, then Lenin's socialist ideas, and later on April thesis by Lenin. Then we had also seen that how First World War had an impact on Russia as well as around the world. In today's class, we will be discussing the formation of USSR, its various political policies like centralized planning, its economic growth and new reforms which had taken place in Russia, and final one, the influence of Russian Revolution on whole world. So let's begin. Birth of USSR. The Bolshevik nationalized industries and banks were done. After the formation of USSR, new policies were made under Lenin, and its various policies were there which were based on socialism. So nationalized industries and banks, then peasants cultivated socialist lands, and lands were confiscated for collective works. Okay, so that was the major part under Lenin, and the formation of USSR had taken place. During that time only, introduction of centralized planning was done. Officials strived hard to achieve target of 5-year plans. The 5-year plans were set up for the development of Russia. The first two 5-year plans were implemented during 1927 to 1932 and 33 to 38. The government fixed all prices to promote industrial growth during the first two 5-year plans. Let's see the economic growth. Because of this centralized planning, the industrial production increased around 100% in oil, coal and steel during 1929 to 33. New factory cities also came into being. Rapid construction led to the poor working conditions. A steel plant set up in 3 years in city in Magnitogorsk. Workers lived hard lives. As a result, 550 stoppages of works in first 5 years only had to be done. The development of schooling system was done. Factory workers and peasants could enter now in universities for education. Creches were established in factories for keeping their workers' children, and model living quarters were set up for the workers. Now, new reforms. After the death of Lenin, Stalin became the new leader and he had the Bolshevik Party. As soon as Stalin came into power, he introduced firm emergency measures, and he believed that rich peasants and traders in countryside are holding stocks for higher prices. Early planned economy was linked to disaster of collectivization of agriculture. Towns in USSR faced acute shortage of grain supplies in 1927 to 28, and government fixed prices of grains to be sold. Many of the peasants refused to sell their grains at fixed prices. So during that time, Stalin introduced a new system of collectivization for the economic reform and improvement of the farmers and Russia. He said that all the farmers should be cultivating the land on collective form. In that, all should be working as a single unit, and everybody will be able to get the profit according to the work they are doing on that farm. So this way, each one equal one, that was the major motto given by the Stalin, and according to the work done by the laborers, everybody was able to get the work as well as the wages and profits. Collectivization program was introduced in 1929. The party workers forced peasants to work in collective farms called kolkhoz. Land and implements transferred to ownership of collective farms. Peasants worked on land and they shared the profit. But some of the peasants resisted collectivization. They destroyed their livestock. Due to that, 1929 to 1931, number of cattle were reduced to one-third. People resisted collectivization. They faced severe punishments. They were deported or exiled. They claimed that they were not rich, but they were not against the socialism also. Due to the collectivization, production did not increase immediately. Due to the bad harvest during 1930 and 33, famines were caused regularly, and in this, over 4 million people died. Many party leaders criticized planned economy. Stalin charged them with conspiracy against socialism, and because of that, over 2 million leaders were put in prisons or labor camps. But most of them were innocent of crimes, but they were forced to make false confessions before executions, and several among them were talented professionals. So, this way, Stalin had executed many of the professionals just on the charges of socialism or conspiracy against the socialism. Now let's discuss the influence of Russian Revolution all around the world. People believed in possibility of forming worker state in many countries. Communist parties were formed in many countries like Communist Party of Great Britain. Bolsheviks were asked as colonized people to follow their method. Non-Russians participated in Conference of the Peoples of the East during 1920. Bolsheviks founded Comintern, an international union of pro-Bolshevik socialist parties. Now let's see if you are able to answer this question. The Menshevik group of the Socialist Revolutionary Party in Russia, which was a minority group, was under the leadership of Julius Martov, Kerensky, Leon Trotsky, or Rasputin. The answer is A. The